Yeah, you're totally in there. Oh. All right. Good evening, everyone. So we want to thank everybody that are here in person with us, and then those of you that are watching online. My name is Abby Yelman. I'm the Deputy City and County Manager for Broomfield. We're going to talk about a really important topic tonight, and everybody's favorite topic, I'm sure, property taxes. So as a Broomfield resident myself, I'm always curious to learn more about, just how property tax works, the role of the assessor as well as the role of the treasurer. So without further ado, so we can get right to the program tonight, I will introduce Jay Yamashita, who is our assessor. He will go first, and then Kim Pfeiffer, who is our treasurer, who will follow Jay. So Jay.
Thank you. Good evening, residents and property owners. My name is Jay Yamashita, assessor. I'm going to take you through some slides tonight to show a presentation of how we value properties here in the city and county of Broomfield. I think, hold on. It won't. Sorry, technical difficulties. We'll be right back. Can I just have you flip through them? Let's do that. Let's just tell you when I want to go through. That'll work. So have you go to the first slide, please. Okay, so we're going to get into roles and responsibilities. So basically, the assessor's department has 9 employees, and our responsibility is to discover, list, classify, and value all properties in the county. And that would include house, land, commercial property, state assessed, personal property, and oil and gas. And we facilitate and provide justification for an appeal. Slide 2, please. So why tax property? This is used to fund government and quasi-government services, fire, police protection, water, sewer service, road maintenance, and schools. And property tax will vary depending upon where you live. Next slide, please. I want to talk to you about the assessment calendar. So all properties are reassessed every other year in the odd year, and this is what is known as the reappraisal year. Notice of values are sent out in May, and these values will be used for the property tax bill for the following year, sent out in January. And property owners can appeal their property value. Appeals can occur annually between May 1 and June 1 of every year. Next slide, please. So how are properties valued? There are 3 approaches to determining value: sales comparison or market approach, the cost approach, and the income approach. And values are determined in accordance with Title 39, Colorado Revised Statute, and published manuals in the Assessor's Reference Library. Next slide, please. So how are values determined? So basically, all sales are confirmed by the appraisal staff. Staff then analyzes sales and market data to determine trends using spreadsheet and statistical software. And all data analysis is sent to a third-party auditor contracted by the state of Colorado. Next slide, please. So let's get into single-family residential valuation. So according to statute 39-1-103-5A, Broomfield is required to use the sales comparison approach or the market approach for residential valuation. And it's not just Broomfield. Every county in the state of Colorado has the same requirement, having to use the market approach to value residential properties. Broomfield uses a 24-month data collection period. So I'm going to kind of explain. So the data collection period that was used for your 2021 and 2022 valuations took place from July 1st of 2018 through June 30 of 2020 to set values for 2021 and 2022. So understand that everything that we look at is in the rears. And this is reflected on the 2022 payable 2023 tax notice. Next slide, please. So again, with residential valuation, once sales are confirmed, a time trend or a market trend must be calculated and applied. If a trend can be established, it is required by statute that we apply that trend. Personal property and any concessions being closing costs, necessary repairs, or personal property are subtracted from the sale price. So this is the adjusted sale price that you see in the sales data that is posted on our website. Next slide, please. When it comes to single-family residential valuation, understand that neighborhood sales are used to revalue the homes. In the instance where neighborhood sales are not available, we go to a comparable neighborhood to set the value as far as using their sales. The most important factors are location, square footage, quality, style, number of bathroom, and garage spaces. Here's a note. Current actual market value in the county is around $15 billion. That is all that I have right now, and I'm going to pass it over to Kim, our treasurer.
Thank you, Jay. Kim Pfeiffer. I'm serves the role of the treasurer in the County of Broomfield. Next slide, please. The roles and responsibilities of the county treasurer are the billing, collection, and disbursement of those property taxes. Next slide. So regardless if you have a mortgage company or not, as a property owner, you will receive a notice. Mortgage companies, will request amounts from us. So you don't have to worry about your mortgage company paying your escrow. That will go to the property owner every year. Next slide. Your property tax notice has a lot of information on it. It'll show you what tax area you're in, what those authorities within that tax area, their related tax mill levy, and the dollars associated with that mill levy. And you can see that the city and county portion up there, out of our $243 million tax roll, Broomfield only receives about 25% of that. The bill also reflects your values, actual and assessed, and then it shows the breakdown if you prefer to pay in first half or full installments. Next. So the assessor sets the values, then it's passed over to us, and they use a rate of 6.95 and commercial rate of 29% this year, and it's set by Colorado state legislature. It's not set by your county. So the assessor sets the value, then it's multiplied by the assessment rate, and then that is multiplied by the mill levy, which gives you your tax dollars. There's some formulas on the side of the slide there. Next slide, please. And this is just an example of the breakdown of a mill levy in Anthem West. Next slide. And then here's your due dates. So if you want to pay in full, it's April 30th. Half taxes are due February 28th and June 15th. Interest begins accruing after those specific due dates. So if you choose to pay in halves, that'll begin after those due dates. Your canceled check is your legal receipt. Next slide. And then every month, all the taxes that we collect in a month and all the specific ownership taxes collected by motor vehicle are then distributed to all those authorities who have mill levies assessed with Broomfield. Every month on the 10th, it's a requirement for the treasurer to send out those funds. Next slide. And I'll pass you on to Vivian.
I'm Vivian Del Pizzo. I am with the Housing Division, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about a new program that we have, and it's the Property Tax Refund Program. So this is a pilot program, it's brand new in Broomfield. It's a 2-year program. This is the first one. It just opened this week on February 1st, and it will run until July 1st of 2023. This program, it has some criterias in order to qualify. So it is tailored for homeowners that are 65 years or older, a person with documented disability, or a veteran with at least 80% disability. If you do fall into one of these 3 categories and your income, your annual income is also below or at the 60% area median income for Broomfield, and you have lived in your home for at least 2 years as your primary residence, you'll probably qualify for this program. We do get a few questions about what is the area median income and some other qualifying questions. If you have any of those questions, you're welcome to visit our website, broomfield.org/housing, or we do have a lot of in-person clinics available where we can assist folks fill out their whole application. And that's it for me.
So we're going to go over some existing resources. There is a property tax exemption option for qualifying residents, and through our department, the assessor's department, there's senior homestead exemption, which is 65 or older, seniors in the home. You have to be in the home for 10 years. We also have disabled veterans, and you have to be owner as of January 1 and be there for 1 year, I believe is 1 current year you have to be there. And you have to be 100% disabled. A new program that was started through legislation, the Gold Star Veteran Spouse Exemption, that information can be found on our website on the slide. If you have any questions at all, please reach out to my department, and we have no problem answering any questions that you have.
And then one of the programs that's available through the Treasurer's Office is the Property Tax Deferral Program. Before this year, it was just available to seniors, 65 or older, and they were owner occupied, so they lived in their residence. And they could apply for a deferral of their property taxes where the state would pay their taxes. And then when they left the home, then they'd have to pay that back at a rate of interest. This year, they've created a new program, and it's, I'm going to try and say this right. If your value has gone up more than 4% and it's more than $100 in tax, you can defer the amount above the $100 up to $10,000. It's also a state-run program, but you can get information on the website on the previous slide. Then there's also the property tax rent and heat credit rebate. And then there's also Broomfield Fish, where you can contact them to see if there's any help they could give you with your property taxes. I think that concludes our presentation tonight. Here's some resources: the assessor's email, treasurer's email, both of our websites, and a frontline phone number you can call to get a hold of either one of our offices. Is there any questions? No, that one's run through the state, and we put that as a resource, but it's not something that Broomfield, we'd have to direct you to the state website. It's on the slides. Oh, I'm sorry. He was asking if the property tax rent rebate was available just to seniors over 65. And I said that was a state program that you didn't have to be age qualified. Sure. So, of course, you've got the city, county, and then you've got your school district. Whatever school district you live in, you get to pay property taxes to that school district to fund the schools. There's a fire district, water district, and then there's metro districts. And that depends on where you live. Jay might be able to speak to the metro districts more, but it's for the infrastructure within that area. So you kind of take a piece of land, and whatever authorities fall on that piece of land is kind of your tax area. So you get a piece of each one of those. Does that make sense? Okay. Yes, correct. That's correct in some regards, but in your closing, they should have taken care of that division of property taxes for the year. So you should have been allotted, did you say you bought it?
Purchased it.
You purchased it. So in your closing documents, there should be something sorry, I'm stuttering on myself here. The first 7 months should be taken care of in that closing document. So go back to your title work and look at those papers because they should address that 7 months worth of taxes.
Okay, so this is just a bill. It's not saying,
Bill for the entire year.
yeah, but it's not saying that I have to, purchase it and my closing costs probably would cover this. Is that correct?
Well, it depends. I mean, they might have put money in your escrow account. They might have just allowed you a credit. So it's really important to look at your title or your title documents.
Okay.
Okay, because the tax does follow the property.
Mhm.
So you need to make sure that that was taken care of in your closing.
Right, and then for 2023, if I'm paying a mortgage for my mortgage company, they should be taking the taxes out with that mortgage. Is that
That's
correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
And you should see that on your statement with your mortgage company as well,
Mhm.
escrow or a PITI.
Right. But I should check with the title company if I don't have my title forms and all
Right.
that to make sure that the taxes were taken out.
Right.
They should be taken out for the period ending December 31st.
Well, for whatever the prior owner should pay their portion of whatever piece of the year they owned it.
Right.
And then
Plus
you
new
would be
construction
responsible for the
tax.
last.
I actually got a metro tax as well. So,
Okay.
all right.
Is there any other questions?
So Kim or Jay, I'm going to ask you a hard question. What are the most common misconceptions, right? As a resident myself who, isn't as versed in this as both of you, what are some common misconceptions or questions that you get on a regular basis that your team might field that you might want to mention here just to clarify? Is there anything?
His question was big one. We get those regularly, 5, 10, 15 a day. The other thing is about your mortgage company. The property owner is going to get a notice regardless of whether they have a mortgage company or not. The mortgage companies request tax roll files from us, and then they scrub that data to pull out all the information for the people that they hold escrows. So those are two of the big ones that I get regularly. You can pay your taxes online. You can pay your taxes at the front counter. You can pay them through the Dropbox. We request that you don't pay them through an electronic bill pay because those go to our water. And we can't accept the property tax payment through that method. So that's the only really caveat about paying is don't pay it through an online bill pay.
So Kim, say those payment methods one more time. What are the best ways?
Best ways, you can pay online. You can pay by e-check. It's $2.50 for an e-check. You can pay by credit card. It's 2.5% of your tax amount due. The reason for that is because we have to use a third-party provider because we can't absorb those fees. You can pay by the Dropbox. You can just drop your payment in the Dropbox. We clean that out twice a day, or you can come into the front counter, or you can put it in the mail. We put in a return mail envelope for you to just put a stamp on it and send it back.
Jay, anything you want to add?
I think a big misconception for us is that people assume we value as of today. And we do not do that. As I stated earlier, for the 22 valuation, the data collection period was July 1st of 2018 through June 30th, 2020 to set our values for 21 and 22. So as long as people, understand that we have to go back in time so we can go through the sales analysis to come up with the value. I think the second misconception is that the city and county of Broomfield collects all these tax dollars. Whereas we really only, if you look at it, we only break down to like 27 point some odd mills that actually, what is it? 28.96 mills that we only collect out of somebody that may have 130, 150 mills. That only small portion goes to Broomfield and hasn't changed since we became a county in 2001. I think that's pretty cool. Otherwise, other than that, that's all I have.
I'm just going to ask about the metro tax. Now, the metro tax does not go to Broomfield.
No. the
Where would
Metro
that go
tax
to?
Goes to the Metro District. So what they do is they get bond money up front to do all their infrastructure.
Okay, that's what I figured. Yeah.
That gets passed on, unfortunately, to me, to you, because I live in a Metro District as well here in Brooklyn.
Right.
So, and it's something until those bonds become mature and paid off is when that goes away. Unfortunately, you know, financing is what it is, and you have them, the bonds possibly being, what am I trying to say? What do you do when you revalue your home? You get a.
Yeah, there's usually like a 30-year bond on it or something like that.
Yeah, but if they get it refinanced, that could change that period of time that
Right.
we all pay for those taxes.
Now, I noticed on here, I'm looking at it, and for the school district, it seems like there's 4 different things here. For St. Vrain Valley. So when there's 4 different things, it says TOT, BON, OVE, ABA, what is that? I'm curious.
So I'll attempt, and I may pass the baton to Linda. She's our expert with mill levies. The school district has different funds that they certify dollars to. So they'll have their general fund, which is, I think, the TOT for total. And then there's the bond fund.
Okay.
Some of them have a refund abatement fund, and some have a override mill levy.
Okay.
So it just depends on how that school breaks down their mill levy and gives it to the assessor so that we can input it into the system and get it on the tax bills.
Okay.
All right, anybody else have questions? We have some Broomfield staff in here that I'm sure are listening and learning as well. So just want to make sure there's no more questions. Please.
Because you were asking, questions that we get a lot. And one of them is this new property tax refund program that is tailored for seniors, if they can use that on top of the homestead program, and they can. So this program is Broomfield only. It's not a state program, and it can be used on top of that, on top of, I'm not familiar with all the programs that are out there. And then that would, yeah. But for the homestead, they can definitely use that. Yes.
I just said with the property tax deferral program, they can't do that and the refund because the state is paying their taxes. They're paying their taxes in full. So with the homestead exemption, yes, they can do both programs, but not with the property tax deferral. Now, if it's the property tax deferral where they're trying to use the deferral for the 4% over, then that would be something that they could use together.
And the way that the refund will be calculated, because it's also a question we keep getting a lot, it's going to be the difference between this year's taxes. So the 2022 taxes paid in 2021 taxes paid in 2022 and the 2022 taxes paid in 2023. So the refund will be the difference of that increase. And the same will go for next year. So when we're looking at, property taxes and the increases, getting everybody registered right now is a really great idea because we're preparing for the future too.
Please contact our departments if you have any questions. All the contact information was on the site, so by all means, please reach out. I have no problem going through any of the information that was gone through tonight in detail. Thank you very much.
Oh, no, here we
Thank
go.
you.
Sorry, we're coming back.
Good.
You mentioned earlier about for the new property, if the closing costs from the purchase, if there's a discrepancy between that and the property tax bill for 2022, what, would you be billing me for that? Or would it be my responsibility to find that money and either remit it to you? Or if there's money that's due to me by the title company for me to contact them?
What normally happens is it's worked out in your closing and whatever those dollars are, those dollars are. The property taxes follows the property. So if there was an abundance in your escrow account, let's say they funded your escrow account with those dollars and there was an abundance, you would get that refund.
Right.
If there was a deficit, then you would have to fill back your escrow account. So the taxes do follow the property, and the title company does a pretty good job of trying to determine what those taxes would be. But the problem is they don't know what the mill levies are going to be in December.
Right.
So they're doing their best guess.
So they're the ones who are going to remit to me and say, you owe this much on the escrow.
Right, right. Your mortgage company would contact you.
Okay.
All right. Well, we just want to say thank you as I walk backwards, which is dangerous. I just want to say thank you to everyone for joining us tonight. As we know, this is a complicated topic. If you don't deal with it every day, we get our tax bills once a year. Don't hesitate. I know that Jay and Kim and their teams are amazing and they're happy to connect with you and talk you through any questions that you might have or think of later, which usually happens to me. So thank you all for joining and we'll see you next time.